day everyone. So this video is a continuation of the income and business taxation. The part 1 of the video is all about the introduction on what is taxation. Now the part 2 talks about the income taxation. The two biggest classification of income taxpayers are individuals and corporation. So as we go back to the video na part 1 is sinasabi na ang gobyerno ay nagkukolekta ng mga taxes from the people and also para rin ibabudget para sa mga para sa welfare ng people. So those who are paying taxes are what we call individuals and corporation. Individuals is those who are earning compensation or mga sole proprietorship na mga businesses. For the corporation, as you can see, what is a corporation? So, it is formed of people na nag-own ng isang business. So, corporation, maraming owners sa business. So, sila yung mga biggest classification of taxpayers. Okay, for income tax purposes, individuals can furtherly classified into 4, which are, or namely, number 1, resident citizen is a person who is a Filipino citizen and who lives or resides here in the Philippines. So, ang mga taxpayers na resident citizen is yung nandito talaga sa Pilipinas at nagtatrabaho dito sa Pilipinas, nag-earn ng money sa Pilipinas, or nagnenegosyo dito sa Pilipinas. Letter B, non-resident citizen is a person who is a citizen of another foreign country and does not also reside here in the Philippines. So, a non-resident citizen is a foreigner, as you can see. Hindi siya citizen ng ating country, the Republic of the Philippines. He may be a resident in Korea, in Japan, or anywhere else in the world. So, tinatawag silang non-resident citizen. Letter C is resident alien. Is a person who is a citizen of another foreign country but resides here in the Philippines during taxable year. Okay, a resident alien is, he is a foreigner but when the taxable year nandito siya sa Pilipinas, dito siya naninirahan sa Pilipinas during the taxable year. So, he is under also the income tax law here in the Philippines. Letter D is non-resident alien. Is a person who is a citizen of another foreign country and does not also reside in the Philippines. So, ang non-resident alien is a foreigner na hindi naninirahan dito sa Pilipinas. Okay, as the 4 classification of individual taxpayers, they can be furtherly classified as either engaged in trade or business and not engaged in trade or business. So maybe si resident citizen is engaged in trade or business, or maybe resident citizen is also not engaged in trade or business. If engaged in trade business, meaning meron siyang negosyo dito sa Pilipinas, he is a resident. And then, ang number 2 is not engaged in business or not engaged in trade or business is when a resident citizen doesn't have any businesses here in the Philippines. Maybe he is just an employee. So, that is the classification of the individual taxpayers. Okay, the kinds of income. So, may mga kinds ng income na under the income tax law of the Philippines. So, individuals can earn from at least 3 kinds of income. Number 1 is the compensation income. This is the income being received by employees working for different companies. This is usually in the form of salaries, bonuses, and allowances. So, compensation kapag ikaw ay isang resident citizen or any of the following individual classification of taxpayers, you are an employee here in the Philippines. So, the compensation earned from your employing in the Philippines is under the income tax law here in the Philippines. Pero, kapag minimum wage earner ka, hindi ka under sa taxes, as what I have said in the first video. Okay. Number 2 is business or professional income. This is the income generated by entrepreneurs in businesses or by different professionals like lawmakers, doctors, accountants. They do not work as employees of other people. So, number 2 is when a person has a business here in the Philippines, operating business here in the Philippines, it is under the income tax law of the Philippines. So, kailangan niyang magbayad ng taxes to the government. As also, professional income is when you are a lawyer, ang mga nakukuha mong income gikan sa imuhang pagka-lawyer is under siya sa income tax law of the Philippines, as well as accountants. Lahat ng mga income na nakukuha mo by practicing your profession is under or kailangan mo ring magbayad ng taxes to the government. Number 3 is the passive income. These are income generated by different investment made by the individual. So, those investments, meron din silang taxes incurred. So, if you are investing something, kailangan ding magbayad ng taxes to the government. So, as you can see, lahat ng mga income is under the income tax law of the Philippines. Okay, so this is the taxable income will be then subjected to the schedule rate to compute for the income for income tax payable to the BIR. So this is the tax table. So this is very useful when you are to compute the taxes due for the government. So if you are taxation your income is 10,000, so dito sa 10,000 ka magbabase. So if your income is 10,000, sa 10,000 ka magbabase kung magkano yung babayaran mong taxes to the government. So we will furtherly understand how to use this income tax table when we are to proceed with the computation. So murag ko ano ni siya introduction of how we will be or what are the use of this tax table for computing the taxes due to the government. Okay, so for the personal exemptions, here in the Philippines, meron tayong tinatawag na personal exemptions. So from the income you have earned, merong madededuct na personal exemption from it which is not taxable. So from that, yung mga amount na yon, which is your profit less your personal exemption and the exemption of your dependent is kato da yung makuha adto nga amount from the deduction of those amounts mo na dayon ang ma-taxable. Okay, so furtherly understand nato na pag nanagid ta sa computation. So discussion sa gid ta for the terms nga inyong matagbuan when we are to compute taxes. So personal exemptions, these are amounts that can be deducted from certain individuals' gross income before it will be subjected to the income tax table. It can be classified into two basic exemptions and additional exemptions for dependent children. So basic personal incomes, all kinds of individuals except those as non-resident alien not engaged in trade or business are allowed to basic exemptions. So here in the Philippines, we have 50,000 a year for basic exemptions, personal basic exemptions. This is applicable to qualified individuals, whether single, married, or a widow, widower. So, meron kang basic exemptions na 50,000. The amount of the allowable personal exemptions for the NRA ETB, which means not engaged in trade or business, non-resident not engaged in trade or business, is the lower between the amount allowed under Philippine tax law and the allowable personal exemptions being given by such foreign country to Filipinos classified as not non-resident alien in such foreign countries. Okay. So, qualifications for dependents. So, meron tayong merong personal exemption which is 50,000. The next exemption is the dependents exemption. So, for the dependents exemption it is 25 pesos. So, the qualification of a dependent before a child may be considered a dependent for tax purposes must be illegitimate or legally adopted child of the taxpayer, must be chiefly dependent upon the taxpayer and is still living with them, must not be more than 25 years old, unmarried, and is not gainfully employed, though more than 21 years old, is incapable of self-support because of mental or physical defect. Okay, so your qualifications for dependents, these are your children's. If you are a single mom, a single father, or a married woman and man, or a widower, so magiging qualified ang iyong anak as your dependent kung pasok siya sa itong apat na qualification. So 25 years old below. Tapos unmarried din, hindi siya employed. So, primarily, nasa sayo na nagsalig siya sa imuha, sa tanan niyang mga needs. Okay? So, those are the dependents of a taxpayer. So, these are the topic that we are talking in this video. So for the next video, we will be learning all about the computation on business taxation. So pinutol-putol ko yung video para hindi siya masyadong mahaba when it comes to discussion as well as the computation para mas maintindihan yung ang mga terms na nandito for the taxation. So that's all for today's video. I hope you learned something. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Goodbye.